Today we're going to be comparing the Xiaomi 13 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Pro. Now for a front facing camera on the Xiaomi, still 1080p 30. I'm not sure why they're not doing 4K since a lot of flagship phones nowadays are doing 4K, so that might bother you. So the Xiaomi does have two different color profiles. You get Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. The difference from my perspective is the Leica Authentic does have a more realistic approach to the shadows where it can be just a bit darker, and the Vibrant does make the colors pop more. But I'll say with the Leica Authentic colors being a bit more darker, some people may not like that. For the majority of the comparison, I am picking the Leica Authentic color profile. In this video, instead of sectioning off the ultra wide, wide, and like all these lenses, I'm going to show you straight from ultra wide all the way down to telephoto and just give you my thoughts on it. And you can see some of the quality differences and maybe some of color shifting as well as we're looking at the same picture. So looking at these photos, some things might jump out to you is the colors, which is personal preference, and some of the white balancing where sometimes the Xiaomi do look more cooler and vice versa with the iPhone. But there are some times where I think the iPhone just look a bit too yellowish green. From using the Xiaomi 13 Pro, I do like the Leica colors coming off of these phones. Same with the Ultra here, given that the authentic color does give a bit more of the darker shadows. It kind of gives off that like less over-processed look like most of the phones have nowadays. So with the HDR look, the iPhone will perform more consistently where the highlights are more exposed and you can see more in the shadows. And for the telephoto pictures, obviously the Xiaomi will be the better one just because it can zoom all the way up to 120x, whereas on iPhone it's 15x max. As you can tell, it's pretty digitized and it doesn't look as good. The Xiaomi does have a 1-inch wide lens, so when you're taking pictures up close or something in your hands, the background blur is going to be much more narrow and more blurrier than the iPhone. So taking pictures with the Xiaomi will give you a closer look to a regular point-and-shoot camera, and because of the bigger sensor, it will perform better in low light situations. And it's also pretty handy when you're shooting video where your subject or item will pop a lot more given that the background blur is more dense. So just shooting with the Xiaomi do give you more of the cinematic feel to your videos. I also tried shooting with the telephoto and they both look pretty similar, well besides the color. There is cinematic mode on iPhone which relies a lot on AI and technology, but as you can tell the cutout doesn't look perfect on the leaves and you can lose focus if you don't track it. Now I tried something more simple like my tripod and bag, and as you can tell it looks pretty good on the iPhone, but the edges are pretty soft. So if you want the natural background blur, then having a bigger sensor really helps with that. Now if you want to see everything, the Xiaomi does have a variable aperture f 4.0, so it's nice to have that option to show more of the background and less blur. And this is a good option to have just in case if you're vlogging where you have someone else with you and they're kind of behind you and they can be in focus as well. I also added on the comparison with the Xiaomi versus iPhone like a vlog style clip just to let you see the background differences too. When I'm shooting ultra wide video, I noticed that on the iPhone it does look pretty shaky on the screen as I'm walking versus on the Xiaomi it looks very stabilized. Not until I watch the video or even seeing it on the computer the stabilization works on the iPhone. So that's one thing to note. Don't be too worried or scared if you're seeing your iPhone to be super shaky when you're shooting in ultra wide. In low light, when you're shooting buildings like these where you get super highlighted spots, the HDR does help, and like I said before, it's more consistent on the iPhone. On the Xiaomi, it looks like you're shooting off of a camera where you don't get the HDR processing. And because of the Leica Authentic color profile, the shadows are darker, so the overall image on the Xiaomi does look darker. When you're shooting food with the Xiaomi, the colors do pop a lot more and it makes the food look more delicious. I did order spicy pork and it was this red in person, so it was closer to the look on the Xiaomi than the iPhone where it looks pretty dull. And as I mentioned before with the bigger sensor, it just performs better in low light situations. Now with the video, the Xiaomi does look darker, but it does seem like it's much more clear and you don't see the micro jitters as much as I'm walking, especially when I'm taking those harder steps. And even with the wide lens, I'm still leaning towards the Xiaomi. It looks cleaner and even in darker spots you can see less of the artifacts floating around. And given with these strong tungsten yellow lights, on the iPhone it does look more realistic or closer to the eye. and shooting food is pretty much the same as the picture where the colors do pop and it does look more delicious. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra unit I have here is China only. I did install Google Play and I installed Instagram as well. When I'm taking darker pictures, it doesn't seem like it's optimized and a lot of the pictures are darker. Maybe when the global version of this phone comes out, Instagram can fix it. In portrait mode, you can still choose between like a vibrant and authentic. With the vibrant, the green grass pops. My sweater do pop, but it's not that blue. And switching it to authentic definitely looks more realistic. It is that dull and dark, closer to a navy blue color. On the iPhone, it looks like the shadows has been lifted, giving you that washed out look. So my sweater do look a bit more brighter and gray. You do get 1x and 3x just to make it simple. On the iPhone, you get the option of 2x as well, just to give you more versatility when you're shooting portrait pictures indoors and outdoors. The big pro for the Xiaomi is the master lenses where you do get the option of these different focal lengths. It does feel like you're shooting an actual portrait picture. Well, except for the 90mm with a soft focus effect, some people might like the aesthetic, but it's not for me. So I'm going to end this off showing you some selfies. Overall, just like the Xiaomi 13 Pro, I do like the Ultra version as well. While using the Xiaomi 13 Pro, I like using the portrait mode lens with the 35mm without the black and white filter, and I got it on the Ultra. And I'm also thinking about creating a video just on the camera experience on these phones, just because there's a lot going on, especially with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. So let me know your thoughts about that video idea, and also what you think about this comparison between these two phones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.